All right. Welcome, Spoiler Kings. My name's St. Crane with Brian, the Grizzly Brandman, Brandon. And we are going to talk about this new Netflix special from Chris Rock. So, what's it called? What was it called?
The
I
View.
can't I
No,
don't remember.
what was it called?
No.
Netflix.
Yeah, another title slipping my
Selective
mind.
Outrage. Selective
Yeah, there
Outrage.
you go.
That was what it is.
Mhm.
Yeah. So, right off the bat, what do you guys think?
That's exactly what it was. It was all about selective outrage, and
Yep.
like, I mean, the special itself was okay. I mean, I said all the jokes were all jokes that he's done before. Like everything he said about women, everything he said about was something he's already said. Have you seen it? Bigger and Blacker?
Mhm.
Like it was old stuff recycled, and that's why I was like, all right, man, okay. And then he
Mhm.
finally talked about Will Smith, and I mean that was fine, but it was like, okay, sure, I guess. you know, I, I I I didn't like that how he was attacking. Yeah, he was attacking these people after a year. Like
Yeah.
after like, you waited all that time, but I realized he got slapped on TV on the Oscars, but there's nothing else he would have done. Let's just be honest. There's nothing he could have done. So
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, also that's the reason why people watch this stupid special. Was like everyone knew he was going to talk about Chris Rock, but yeah. Well, Brandon, what you think about it, man? What you think about the special as a whole?
I was kind of indifferent to it. It was kind of like the run of the mill Chris Rock jokes.
Wow.
I was okay with it. I didn't really have too many thoughts about it one way or the other. By the time it ended, I was like, it was all right. Gave me a couple laughs.
I will say he's like,
Yeah.
I don't want another rap again. I'm not talking about Beyonce. I don't need another rap again mad at me.
That's why he had moments. Yeah. Like he kept referencing the Will Smith thing a few different ways. And it was funny, but a lot of the jokes, like you said, kind of were recycled in a way. Yeah. I think the best joke was the one with his daughter. You know what I mean? Because I was like, I felt like I'm like me personally. I know comedy is kind of subjective and stuff like that, but me personally, I like when comedians tend to take their real life and make a story funny. And I think that's what it was. Because then you're not really making fun of anybody, and you're not really gonna piss off anybody. It's like hey, this is what happened with me and my daughter. Like and like that whole story of her from school with the grandmother, her biting and stuff. Like I thought that was funny. I'm like, okay, he called back and stuff. So, but that was really the only time where I kind of like laughed, like actually laughed.
I have no problem you talking about people. Talk about, because I think Dave Chappelle is hilarious. His storytelling. But, I think Chris Rock has to stick with his own genre, his own way he's going to do it. I just thought he should have came up with better jokes. It felt like he had a punchline. You have a punchline, and then he built a show around this punchline. He had 15 minutes of material, and he tried to build everything else around that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And then he didn't even land the material because he messed up the material because he went live. So it just did not land the way it should have. I thought it was gonna be hilarious because especially after seeing was it Marlon Wayans talk about, he did a whole show about Chris Rock, Chris Rock and Will Smith. He did a whole special about that, and it's just I thought it would have been funnier.
Yeah,
I think the last 12 to 15 minutes was very real. It was very much his feelings on it, and it is right. Will Smith is Muhammad Ali, and Chris Rock is Pookie from.
That was funny. Funny.
He played a piece of corn from Pootie Tang. That's what he is. He's right. But besides that, it was okay. It was okay.
Yeah. It also felt very contradictory, at times, because he's like, oh, well, right off the bat, he was like, oh, we don't have a blah blah. I forgot even what he compared to. He goes, we have an attention problem. Everyone wants attention. I'm like, says the man on stage on Netflix. The fuck you talking about? Like attention? You're Chris Rock, man. Like that's all you do is attention. Like What?
I mean, he's been a comedian. I mean, he's been doing HBO specials for a long time. So I mean, that's what but I don't know.
But he's a comedian. SNL, like, dude, like your entire life is getting attention from people. What are you talking about, man? Like. So I thought that was kind of like the thing he's talking about, like, oh, like, I get what he was getting at, like with social media and stuff, but I felt that was not the right way to get there. You know what I mean?
No, I agree. Like he's on Netflix. Someone's watching on a tablet. He's reaching out for that person, and he's talking about that person about what they're doing because that's what he wants them to do. So that's kind of that kind of is stupid. I got you.
Yeah.
What did you think about the bringing up the Jada Pinkett Smith entanglement? He should have done this 6 months ago. Should have done 6 months ago.
Yeah. What'd you think, Brandon? Let you go.
It was inevitable to be touched on at some point or another. I know some of these stand-up routines kind of take time, so the time difference didn't really bother me too much. I knew it was inevitable. Granted he could have struck while the iron was a little hotter, but at the same time I expected it. With Netflix and how many people tune into Netflix, I knew he was going to take advantage of that no matter when it came out.
No, he needed to do that, but just didn't think
he's friends with Adam Sandler, so it's easy. Like, hey, make a phone call. I need to make a special. Hey, I got you.
I feel like I was watching an all-time great comedian who's lost his fastball. You know what I'm saying? Like when you see an all-time great, a GOAT, like he's probably on that Mount Rushmore, and he lost his fastball. It wasn't as funny. Like I was expecting. He's has some of the best stand-up specials of all time. He has had probably 3 of the top 20 of all time, and it just wasn't good. And he had great material and just still didn't hit.
Yeah, I mean his last special wasn't good. It just wasn't. I mean the way he presented everything, because he has a certain way he talks. You know what I mean? Like, and people not make fun of it. They imitate that a lot. Chris Rock. This is how he delivers his lines. And he brought that back. He for sure brought that back. But I think he's just kind of lost it, and it kind of sucks because sometimes like you just get so big and famous and rich that you might just get lost in doing it. And I get it, it's like, and that's kind of the joke he had, which is why I like the joke he had about his daughter. He goes, he don't like his kids because they grew up rich. You know what I mean? Because because he said they're rich, and I'm like, that's funny because they're rich because you're rich, but also you're rich because the way you grew up was not being rich. So it's kind of like a good play on everything. And I think that's more funny, rather than like all the other stuff, like you said,
he's brought that up before.
Yeah, exactly.
Part of that is also the fact that, I think him losing his getting divorced, him being a problem with, not having his wife, not having that same family dynamic, not wanting to bring all that stuff up all the time, kind of takes away from him being able to come up with jokes. Because like I want to stay away from. He felt like he was tippy-toeing around his own life.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I don't know.
What else you got, Brandon? Just on the Will Smith stuff at the end or any of it?
I knew he was going to go in on Will at some point or another. Can't say he didn't deserve it, but it wasn't anything it wasn't anything mind blowing as far as I'm concerned. I was just very indifferent to it.
Yeah.
When it ended, I was just like, all right, that wasn't bad. Seen better, seen worse.
Yeah.
All I know is he better not see Will Smith in the street.
Yeah, next time it will be a slap.
Oh, you talking real? You want to get real hood, huh? All right, I got you.
He's gonna be like the Bel Air.
Like Bel Air.
Like, oh, West Philly. Well, it's gonna say that a dozen times.
You thought you were dealing with Fresh Prince Will Smith. No, this is Bel Air Will Smith. I got you. Let's go. You remember you talk about me being Muhammad Ali? I'm still Muhammad Ali, and you still Pookie. And I'm about to show you.
Yeah. I mean, because to me, this was definitely, it felt like two different parts. You know what I mean? Because there was his jokey part at the beginning, and then there was the Will Smith stuff at the end. Even the way he talked was different, because it went from being like, this is Chris Rock joke, on stage. But then, and like I said, he has that way he delivers lines, and then all that went away once he started talking about Will. Like it changed. He got very emotional.
You can see he almost was crying. Like he had tears in his eyes. Like it was like it was too much. And that's why he messed up the joke. Like he knew what he was going to say, but he was just so enraged, still very hurt, still very upset, and you could see it.
Yeah. Even I thought that was also kind of contradictory. It was like, because he ends the show with saying his mom told him not to fight in front of the white people. Which was funny. And I know that like
that's an ongoing joke about us.
Yeah. But then like he talks about the emancipation thing and about like the whole slavery thing. So it was like, I just felt like that was like, and I felt the same way. I saw E-Man from E-Man's movie reviews kind of said something similar. I'm like, dude, yeah, that's how I kind of feel. It was like, you did the emancipation joke and stuff like that, but then you ended it where it contradicted the joke, and I was like, it's where the joke and real life doesn't match up, and you try to force them in together, and it's just like, oh man, I don't know, man.
He was
like, I didn't hate it,
but he forgot what he was going to talk about. He really was just talking about how that's what kept calling him. He's like, "You're a bitch. You're a bitch. He's a bitch. Like he just kept on saying it because he was more hurt and just wanted to get that word out. He just wanted to call him that on national TV so people can rewind and say it over and over again. That was more about that and less about the joke. And if you're smart, if you're Chris Rock, look, dude. It should be about the joke. You use it as material, and if you make it a great special, it's going to be going on forever, and that's how you get payback.
Yeah.
You get payback by being epic and people playing it over and over and over and over. As I said, I said bigger and badder, like bigger and blacker 3 times in this thing. Like that. You need to be that good. If it was that good, and you talked about that, people will be giving standing ovations. You back up there, you selling out stadiums, you Dave Chappelle giving good stories, Dave Chappelle don't even care anymore. He's so funny. He talks about making a joke and it becomes an entire special. Like that's how, Chris Rock, I feel like lost his fastball. And we were watching a guy who was a great comedian who lost his fastball.
Yeah. I don't know. And then one I see is like, can these fucking people please stop riding Elon Musk's dick so hard? Jesus Christ, I am over it, man. I'm over
that too.
Stop, man. He's not a fucking genius. He's not a good person. Like Dave Chappelle, constantly fucking how great fucking he brought Elon Musk and Elon Musk ruined the fucking one of the best Dave Chappelle lines ever. I'm rich, bitch. Like he just murdered that. And then him, with Chris Rock, he's like, oh, you know how much he has sex? I was like, enough where he has like a dozen kids and half of them hate him? Like, I don't know.
It's a joke. I have no problem with Elon Musk because I really care less. He ain't worried about me. So I ain't worried about him.
they just keep writing so hard for this dude, man. I was like, why?
Because it was Bill Gates in the 90s. It literally is the richest. Who's the richest person?
But no one wrote for Bill Gates. It was always Bill Gates was an asshole. Bill Gates stole from people. Bill Gates bought out things. They never rode for Bill Gates. And now Elon Musk is like, oh yeah, let me give me more of that Elon Musk Tesla dick. It's like, what the hell, man? It's like, I'm over it. Like, especially like black rich people, like supporting this guy, man. It was like, dude got famous for, his dad literally using South Africans, like it just blows my mind. Like, I don't get it. Stop.
Because every rich person has that same story, Tank. So that you can be mad at him, but it doesn't matter what person you go to. every rich person has that same story that they got rich off the backs of somebody else. So I mean, you can be mad. It's just the next guy. The next guy up is the same asshole. You don't get that rich without being an asshole. That's so what's the point? I mean, they want to be because he's the richest guy. He's just the next one up. You know, and we already know they're assholes because that's how you get there. That's the only way you can get there.
Yeah, that's the only way to become a billionaire. But
no, 100 billionaire, like 200 billionaire.
That's a whole nother.
Like it's like if you woke up and you had Michael Jordan's money, you'll kill yourself. Like that's type of billionaire. you know, that's it's just a different level.
Yeah. I know we talked about that a few weeks ago too. But I mean, overall, it was okay. It wasn't the greatest. It definitely was nowhere near, like you said, like he lost his fastball. It was nowhere near as great as Chris Rock used to be.
Yeah.
So we'll finish up with some of these comments. We got a bunch. So Perp said, I didn't watch it. He waited a year to do this. I'm already over it. And that's what a lot of people, I think, are like that. You know, but I think he had to do it either right away or wait until the next Oscars, because the next Oscars are in a week. Next week, next weekend. Yeah. So it's kind of fresh in people's mind, but it's not the same. You need to hit that right away.
Yeah. Really should have struck while the iron was hot.
Mm-hmm. The only funny moment was the end about Will Smith. I mean, pretty much. That was the only entertaining part of it. That's the only reason why people watched it, was those last 10, 15, whatever minutes. It's like rappers after your second album, you're not hungry and you don't have as much to say. Interesting.
I mean, but except for him, he's been doing it for 35 years. So it's like he's been to the mountaintop. In 2000, Chris Rock was at the top of the mountain. So he's already been there.
Yeah.
So it's like trying to get back up there, you know, even with this, having more material, he made some more money.
Yeah.
You should thank Will Smith for helping to make some more money, because his shows were not selling out.
Yeah. That's why I don't get the people that are saying like the slap was staged so they can both get more money. I was like, Will Smith ain't getting more money. Chris Rock is making a buttload of money for sure.
Yeah, the whole situation was just very odd to me, you know.
Yeah.
Especially considering that after that joke, Will seemed to be taking it in jest like everyone else.
That makes perfect sense to me. Once you're married and you're like, oh yeah, and you look at your wife and she give you that look, you gotta do something.
Yeah. So I don't think I'd walk up and put my hands on someone though.
You know, and the problem is it was his night. It was Will Smith's night.
Oh yeah, he
you know, and that's the problem.
Yeah, and then you know you could tell that he had prepared that speech that he gave, because it contradicted pretty much everything that had just happened 5 minutes earlier. You know, he basically he waited his whole career for that moment, and he tripped up at the goal line or at the finish line.
No, he also messed up. Chris Rock did say that. He was like, you know, honestly, I blame Jada. And everyone said, so I watched Marlon Wayans. He said, I blame Jada because you know what? She should have said, no, not right now. We'll see him on Thursday. Tonight is about you. And that should have been the focus.
Yeah.
That's the only true thing I thought.
She did look pretty proud, or like she looked pretty satisfied and proud of herself after the slap happened. I'm like, you both had a demon.
That is not affiliated with Brian Waller.
All right, finish up these comments. Brandon,
what is Will gonna come hit me? Be careful, I hit back.
You just get a hand out of nowhere through the window.
I am less worried about him. I'm worried about other people. Forget Will Smith. I'm not. I'm bigger than Will Smith.
Yeah. Wait. Let's see. I was drunk watching it, and it just didn't land for me. How was the joke about his daughter funny? He just talked about her in school in Paris. I thought it was funny because, like, I don't know, he kind of like brought in his real life kind of stuff, you know, because he's like, oh, they're rich and they don't understand how your actions has consequences, like the whole thing. So when he found out where the daughter was like, it's fine, I did this really messed up shit and it's fine, and then I thought that was like funny because it was like kind of real life, but then it ties back into like, now she's in Paris and then the grandma goes and sees him and then she bit the grandma. I was like, that time back to like previous. So like that stuff is kind of funny. Granted, it's not the greatest joke ever, but I mean,
he knows
probably the best joke.
The first half was time, and he was timing it as much as he could. Yeah. It's just like he ran out of material, and he went back to his old stuff towards the end of that first half. And then we got the second half with this about Will Smith, and that's a little bit different. So
yeah. And then Perp said, LMAO facts. I'm not sure what they said.
What about you talking about jokes, and that was our place, and then he didn't need to be saying stuff, about Netflix about. But people, that's the people that you're trying to get. So I got them. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. Like Kevin Hart last special in his house sucked. Yeah,
it did.
Yeah, it did.
Didn't see that one.
Yeah,
good.
It wasn't good.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
good. Not missing anything.
No. Honestly, I was more intrigued about the Prince symbol. Yeah, and he had the necklace, the Prince symbol, and I
don't know if he bought it or what was going on, but. Yeah, I bought this at the Prince garage sale. I don't know. I don't know what that was about.
I was at his estate sale. They're selling it. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't think I've seen anything. Yeah, I don't think I've seen him saying anything online about it.
Mm-hmm.
But Perp said people on the internet already made their jokes about Will and Jada and take on this. Yeah, they've done that before the slap, after the slap, all the way up. And like, dude, you're way late to the game. And you're bringing up
Marlon Wayans did everything that he said. Marlon Wayans talked about already, so it was just hard for me to. I was like, oh man, you were a little bit late.
Yeah,
you let someone else steal your thunder.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. Kyle said, "Damn, Zach left. He was punishment, got caught." Zach is waiting down because I know he didn't watch the special, so he's gonna join us in a little bit for our last part of the show. But yeah, hashtag belt. And Brandon said, Chris Rock's direction is off the chain. Yeah, it was Chris Ricks by Chris Rock.
Diction is off the chain, yes.
Oh, Diction is off the chain, yeah.
He should have. Yeah. He should have went hard about the divorce.
Yeah, because he gave her a lot of praise, though. I mean,
he was a douchebag. He was wrong.
Yeah, didn't he cheat on her?
Yeah, he cheated on her.
Yeah. So yeah, but and Brandon said JB Smooth
killed it. That's probably
killed it though. Oh,
yeah. JB Smooth, his special is pretty good.
Yeah, well, he's funny.
JB Smooth's awesome.
So. Yeah. It's time like this that we really need a celebrity death match.
I agree. I was just thinking about that a couple days ago. We need to bring that show back.
Let them fight it out. Let them fight it out. I said Chris Rock is extremely overrated. Everyone hates Chris. Is his best work.
Chris Rock has some of the greatest specials of all time, guys. He really does.
He has some good stuff.
And don't forget to give him the big piece of chicken. Like that. The stuff that he was saying during those times was hilarious. It's just it was 20 years ago.
Yeah.
Stuff on SNL was amazing. But once again, that was 30 years ago. So I'm just saying, he's done a lot of good things.
Mm. Yeah. He got slap trauma. Yeah. It was a cash grab. I think he got like 40 mil for a special. Damn. That is a lot. 40 mil? He got 40 mil for his special? I gotta check that out. Even Brandon's like, damn, that's a lot. Yeah, that's a lot, man, for a special. I mean, he is Chris Rock, so I know his name brings in a lot of money, but 40 mils, that's a buttload. There was a yes, and Bill Gates, his kids are not even in as well. Yeah.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah. Bill. Tell Chris Rock make a better Saw movie or Dogma 2. That Saw movie with Chris Rock did suck.
It was awful.
It was so bad.
I mean, but he's made some good cult classics too. I mean, so that's why,
Yeah.
I mean, even Head of State was hilarious. So I'm just saying, like,
Head of State was hilarious.
Yeah. I know Zach Attacks did a Dogma review, so you go check that out. I don't think he was a big fan of it,
why.
but it was.
I do know why.
It was.
I do know why, but yeah,
a thing of its time.
I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but yeah, do a Dogma too. That'll be funny. He slapped Chris Rock and was best actor. That's some goat shit.
You know what he should have said? Will Smith should have said, and I meant it, and walked away. just dropped it.
Just look like, you next?
And I meant it.
Next.
Oh, that'd be great. And who's next?
Yeah, just walk up with his hand, just like anybody else. Or as he's walking up to the stage, he like pretends to slap more people. Like, you too, motherfucker. See, I don't think Will Smith is funny enough to get away with that.
He was funny.
He was
Will Smith.
Yeah,
before he became Will Smith, the blockbuster maker. He was hilarious.
Yeah, I think if he just I don't know, but yeah, he could have done some funny stuff with it, and I think people would have been.
Well, they say it's distasteful.
Yeah. There's
some people.
I think it was Zach Tex. Jada should have protected him for sure.
Yeah, she should have. She should have stopped it.
Yeah. It was his night, and Chris Rock had to install his wife. I don't know. I think people forgot that Chris Rock dissed her so hard 2 years ago. Yeah, before Oscars So White, and they had asked Chris to stop. Yeah.
No, I think I remember all that. But this was the night that Will Smith was going to become on the same level as Denzel. That's what he was about to be. And I would much rather have seen a little scroll on the bottom of my screen saying, and Will Smith went to Chris Rock's house, knocked on the door, and beat the crap out of him. That would have been fine. I was like, oh man, I understand that. Because he didn't do it on national TV. He didn't do it in front of everybody else. Yeah, she said he didn't do it in front of white people. I would totally understand. I'd be like, hey, at least he did it off TV. Okay.
I would say put it on his YouTube channel. He had a big YouTube channel, Will Smith.
he's sitting there filming it like, hey, I'm knocking on Chris Rock's door right here. Watch. And then beats him with the red table.
RKO him through the table. The best way to handle that is to wait to a commercial break and then go backstage. Yeah, probably. That's how it should have been done. Yeah, facts. What you say? I think since it was live, it felt they came across as nervous.
Yeah, definitely. I agree.
Yeah. Now they're gonna have like a freaking 20-second delay. They're gonna have like such a big delay now where like they can just cut it. Yeah, I
would. Yeah.
He was feeling himself that night, especially being nominated. I guess, but it was probably it felt like a lot of Jada.
No, it was all your wife that makes you do crazy things. That's just what.
Yeah.
Because you don't want her thinking, man, if Tupac was here, you would have took care of him.
Yeah, exactly.
But you're not Tupac, bro. You Will Smith. You're one of the biggest stars in all Hollywood. That you have stuff to lose. Like, there's no need. So either way.
Yeah. So the rest of it's kind of some other. The Oscars needed that slap. They really did because the ratings were good only because of that slap. So
because I didn't even watch it. I was like, what slap? And then I went back and I saw it.
I watched it because I was watching it because we do our Oscar show. And I saw that. I'm like, what the fuck? I text Fredo. I was like, what? I was like, he wasn't watching. So I was like, God damn. He's like, I need. And then obviously it was all over Twitter, like within seconds. So
you messaged the group, and then that's why I knew. I was like, oh my God, look, I gotta find it. And I was telling everyone else, get down here. It was literally like when you like Marlon was saying, like it was like literally like, hey guys, y'all gotta see this. Yeah. And I paused it as he was like, he followed through.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean that's just kind of our thoughts and takes on the special, on him talking about Will Smith finally talking about the situation and stuff like that. But we'll leave that there, and then we'll see what comes from it in the next couple of weeks. Like, who is somebody going to respond, or is it just gonna leave it alone? We'll see. Mm-hmm. But leave a comment if you're watching a replay. Leave a comment. Let us know what you think about the special, about his thing at the end. But leave a comment if you're watching live. Stick around. We're gonna talk about something else. We got one more thing. But thank you guys. Hit that subscribe button too. And but yeah, I don't know. I'm curious to see what you guys think in the comments if you're watching it. So because our last video went after the slap had a lot of emotions. Or not emotions, a lot of different takes. So I'm curious on what people think now that we got Chris Rock's side of it. But cool. Let's move on to our last topic for the night.